Good afternoon, guys. My name is Alina Shaltsova. I'm an immigration attorney from New York. In today's video, we're going to discuss the most interesting immigration news. We're going to talk about immigration reform, new travel ban, some little changes that are happening in USCIS. So if this is your first time, thank you for joining. Please like, share this video. Of course, subscribe to my channel. I promise to share the most relevant, interesting, and new information with you promptly. So first, let's talk about the new travel ban. Yes, Biden just announced new travel ban for those people who visited recently within the 14 days prior to entry or attempted entry to the United States, certain countries that are located on African continent. Extremely important. Why? Because it's important not only for COVID-related matters, it's also important for immigration and immigration reform as a whole. You know that Biden administration is being criticized for not doing enough to put America first, not doing enough for those who are already in the United States. And of course, this measure will be used by the Democrats to show that Biden is addressing the most recent and pressing immigration issues, also related to the safety. As you are aware, those who are against immigration reform are often citing COVID concern, saying that immigrants are coming to the United States without vaccinations and they're spreading the virus. Even though, by the way, CDC recently, if you recall from one of my latest videos, actually stated this is not the case. Interestingly enough, Canada lifted its COVID-19 related restrictions for certain immigrants. So United States is kind of going backwards here, I believe. But nevertheless, we're going to discuss this important travel ban. So if you were present in one of these African countries, and I apologize, I'm sure I will mispronounce the names of some of them, you will not be able to come to the United States unless you are already on board of the plane when this measure is being announced and implemented. Of course, there are exceptions, numerous exceptions to the rule, but immigrants and non-immigrants who were present within the past 14 days prior to trying to enter or prior to their attempted entry to the United States, if they were present in these following countries, they will be denied entry: Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, and Zimbabwe will not be able to enter the United States. It is said this measure is necessary to stop the spread of the new variant. This measure, this travel ban, does not apply to citizens and nationals of the United States. It does not apply to lawful permanent residents of the United States. It does not apply to spouses of U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents. It does not apply to children of the United States citizens and those children that are going through process of adoption. It will not apply to parents of minor U.S. citizens and siblings of U.S. citizens if both are minors. It will not apply to military members, those who are invited in the United States by the United States government, those whose entry is beneficial for the national security of the United States. C-1D visa holders, for example, will be exempt as well. And of course, these entry measures should not be applied to asylum seekers. However, it will be very difficult for somebody who would like to seek asylum in the United States to board the plane if they're coming from one of those countries, practically impossible. So there are numerous exceptions to this travel ban. However, there's going to be a travel ban. In fact, it's already in effect because it went into effect at 12:01 a.m. on November 29th, 2021. And now we're going to talk about immigration reform and why this travel ban is important. If you check the most recent immigration news, you're going to see discussions about immigration reform and how Plan C, that is currently included and is being proposed by the Democrats to be included in the reconciliation bill, is not enough. And how also this plan, not only it's not enough, but Republicans are arguing it's really bad. Some people are also just voicing their concerns that this plan is illegal, plainly illegal, and cannot be implemented because under the regulations, parole can be granted only for urgent humanitarian reason and only to specific groups, and authorization that would cover just anyone is not going to be constitutional, it's not going to be under the laws that were established under the Constitution. So basically it's going to be illegal per se. Some people voicing concerns that the plan, if it passes, will overwhelm USCIS, and USCIS will not be able to cope with 7 million applications, and so on and so forth. This is where we stand right now. It's important because all this information is being discussed and being basically used as a background by the Senate parliamentarian, of course, and by our elected officials. They do not live in a vacuum. Of course, they're going to be using all these bits and pieces of information when they're going to be meeting with the Senate parliamentarian to discuss the future of immigration reform and when they're going to be making their amendments to the plan. It's very, very important. So Democrats, of course, would like to show that Biden administration is adequately addressing concerns by more conservative groups of people that believe that any immigration reform is going to basically undermine the United States security, including border security, and is going to lead to chaos in the United States, going to encourage criminals and criminal immigration. So Biden's targeted measures to secure the border are extremely important here for the Democrats. Also, what's very important is that it seems the Biden administration is going to reinstate Remain in Mexico protocol that is being criticized by immigration advocates as cruel and inhumane. But Biden administration seems, according to the media resources, is going to be reinstating it. Perhaps it's done because it has to be done under the federal judge's order. Perhaps it's also done as a response to those who are criticizing any immigration reform measures. Perhaps it's done because there is nothing better currently that administration can come up with to control the situation at the border. The future is going to show us what's really is happening. What's also important here is that Republicans, of course, are going to put pressure on the Democrats, perhaps to scratch off immigration reform completely. Perhaps they will propose a plan that will seem to be much better and will say that, you know what, we're going to leave it for discussion at a later point, but for now, just scratch off this Plan C completely. There will be many different possibilities how this political game is going to be played. Of course, I'm not by any means an expert in political games and not an expert in political situations. All I know that it's time for immigration reform. That, of course, from my perspective, registry would be a way better option and way more fair option for everyone because it creates a path for citizenship that was promised by the Biden administration. It's also nothing new because it's actually based on the law that's been adopted a long time ago and was used by the U.S. immigration authorities and the government long time ago, since decades. And of course, because registry would also allow to disqualify people of concern, just like what Republicans are worried about, people who has not resided here long enough to encourage illegal immigration, people who have criminal convictions unless they would qualify for waivers, as the waivers will be available. and so on and so forth. So maybe it's not a perfect solution, but it would have been a better solution than parole. So we're going to see. Now you're aware of all these recent developments and what's going on. Of course, something may be happening currently when I'm just speaking, because it seems that currently something is happening every second. But we're going to try to stay on top of the most recent immigration news and share them with you. And please share your thoughts as to what you believe will happen, what you believe should be happening, so we can discuss it in our next video. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and healthy. Like, share, subscribe, and I hope to see you soon.